Chase, it is sometime after September of 1996. You got a call. You're going to a friend's house.
I mean, yeah, it's 2024. It better be.
And they say, hey, grab your 64 controller and bring it with you.
Okay.
How are you wrapping the cable around your controller before you take it?
I was always an X-Man.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Figure eight style. Yeah. Basically like the X over the start button. That's what you got to do.
Okay. I was an N man for the Nintendo.
So you'd wrap it up, or you'd wrap it around and then over and then up.
Yeah.
And then where? Then where would you go?
I would wrap a few times. I would do that pattern, and then I would tuck the controller connection underneath the back in piece.
That's interesting. I might have to dig out an N64 controller just so I can try that.
Yeah. I'm not saying I was the smartest. I thought I was the coolest, though.
So you did it just for the in part, or did you actually think that was the best way to do it, or did you know you were being cute when you did it?
I knew I was being cute. I was like,
okay.
The other thing too is that it was unique in the sense that I don't know, like, you grew up in the country, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, suburb stuff. Yeah,
like biking to somebody's house wasn't always probably a thing you did, right?
No, so I lived in a subdivision, so I had a couple of friends who were in that same subdivision, and I could walk or ride a bike to their place. But anybody outside of that subdivision, no, you were getting in a car.
Yeah, so I grew up in a small town, very bikeable to my friend's house, and so you went where the bikes were. A lot of us, there were some of us that didn't have a Nintendo 64, but we had a controller. Like, we at least got a controller that we could take with us.
Sure, yeah.
And in
doing, so you didn't have to play with the Mad Catz one.
Well, that was for my brother, and he thought it was the best. I did that also to like omit any confusion on like whose controller was whose.
Right.
That's kind of like my signature thing.
Yeah, like I had a friend who gave me a hair tie at one point, and I was like, oh, hey, what a great thing to put around my controller. This is the perfect size for like the Xbox the Xbox controller S, or even now I have it on my in fact, let me.
Is that the same hair tie?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there was lore on that thing.
Yeah, no, same hair tie. I've got this brown hair tie, and I just put it on my controllers. I'm like, now I know that one's mine.
Well, I mean, you made the comment at my house, like, you don't know mine has the hair tie on it. And I was just like, yeah, okay, you've got hair, I don't. Who gives a shit? But I didn't.
No, the hair tie was not for me.
I didn't realize there was a fucking, like, origin story. That's fucking cool.
I mean, it's not like oh, I had a crush on this girl and I need to keep her hair tie so she's always with me. No. It's just like, yeah, hey, this is a hair tie, and I didn't have any reason to get another hair tie. I'm sure
she's listening right now. I'm sure she's thrilled.
Absolutely. Campbell, if you're out there, thanks for the hair tie.
Thanks, Campbell.
You're not getting it back.
Chase, it is July 1st, if you can believe it. Episode 382, if you can believe that, which means we are now legally free to talk on official acts of game releases.
Oh, sure.
And we can actually tell the masses now what games are coming out. But before we do that, if this is your first time tuning in, hello, I'm Bobby, that's Chase. Welcome to the Casual Hour. We tell you about video games that we like and think that you would like as well. This is an episode that we get to tell you about the games coming out in July. So we're going to break those down in the back half. We're going to watch some trailers, talk over those trailers. We've got a few games to check in on tonight. So we're going to get an update on things like Diablo 4, Paper Mario, maybe Power World. Who knows? And then we'll tell you about the games that we thought were going to be.
You're the one who knows.
I do know.
Okay.
Legally, I'm on official business right now. Official acts.
Oh, we have immunity. Yeah.
Yeah. If I do anything unofficial here in a little bit, then I'm in trouble. But right now, I can say whatever. Anything I want to say, I can say. With immunity, to your point. And then we're going to talk a little bit about.
I mean, there might be like a dissenting opinion, but nobody reads those. Nobody cares.
Yeah, absolutely dissenting, but nobody gives a shit. So that's the episode tonight. We got a lot of fun. These are one of my favorite things that we do. Chase has already put together an incredible list of games and trailers for you. So cozy up. Let us know what you're thinking here in chat. We'll tell you about the games that we're excited with. And let's get into it. Chase, with that, why don't we check in on some stuff that we've been playing? And I know that you've been hard at Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door. If you missed last week, Chase teased he was going to try and beat the game this weekend. Did you beat Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door?
I did not.
He did not, everybody. He was not on an official act. He was on an unofficial act when he said that.
Ask the other question, Bobby. Ask it.
Did you play Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door this past week?
I did not.
I knew it.
So to be fair, I didn't play any video games this weekend. I was, we've got a big vacation coming up with 4th of July, big holiday.
Yeah, we're recording on a Monday. A little strange.
Exactly. That's why we're recording on a Monday. So I'm going to be out of town for a while. I'll have my Switch, and I thought it's like, hey, you should play it then. You have chores and things you should do. Get the house ready now, so then you can play the games later over the holidays. So yes, that thought quickly shifted to, oh, you're not playing any Paper Mario this weekend, are you? And then like there was a brief thought of like, oh, hey, it's okay, I'll just play it on Monday, and then I can talk about it when the show comes on show comes up on Wednesday. And then I realized, oh, right, we switched the times.
Famous last words. Famous last words. Well,
yeah.
You know what? I'll tell you what. We'll put a pin in it then. I have not played any more of that myself. I've been. I'm going to talk about it here in a little bit, but I've gotten back into a few things myself, and so I'm going to give some updates on those. But I have full intentions. After this week, I am going to be traveling for work as well. So if you're watching and you know us, we're going to be recording on Monday again. We put a tweet out earlier. We traditionally record live on Wednesday, post on Friday. This week, we're recording on Monday. Next week, we're recording on Monday, audio only on Friday. So I'll be on the road, and I'm going to be taking my Switch, and I plan on putting a lot of time in with Paper Mario, because some of the games I'm anticipating to play that we're going to talk about are going to be more online. So I need something I can take with me offline. Well then, Chase, if you're cool with it, I'll just give a few check-ins here on some stuff I've been
Please.
into.
Go for it.
First up for me is going to be Diablo 4. I continue to be putting a ton of time into it. I've respec'd my sorcerer to a meteor chain lightning build, and it's really fucking fun. I've got all the seasonal outfits. I've unlocked all the things for the Iron Wolves, doing the Helltide events. I think.
So when you say outfits, I forgot. Like, are these like the transmog stuff where you can turn any piece of armor into that?
They've got, not too dissimilar from other life services. They've got seasonal armor you can get. There is like the meta shit, and I've gotten to a point now where the cool thing about this one, and I can't remember. I think the last game you played that was adjacent to something like this was Destiny.
Sure.
But if you break down. So like you basically can sell your gear back, or you can break it down with the blacksmith. If it's legendary or higher, you can pull out the augmentation from it, and that just goes into your library. So when you go back to the blacksmith, if there's an augment that's really better for the build you're going with, and you have a good rolled item, or if you want to change the roll on it, you can augment one of those things from your library into it. And so all the items can be augmented, and then you can go in and you can slot the jewels into it and really build on it that way. But yeah, okay. you can do transmogging stuff, which goes for you, your weapons, your mount. There's also new trophies that you can attach to your mount. But the loot has never been better, and the world events are really great. I bumped it up to World Tier 3, which they kind of do check dungeons. I don't know if you know this or not, to progress the world tier leveling. And so we graduated from the World Tier dungeon. This is with friend of the show, Zoe. We're now on World Tier 3, which means that like the loot is just a much higher level that's dropping. And I'm having a great time. They've already kind of teased.
How many tiers are there?
I think it goes up to 6, I think.
Okay. So you still got some work. You still got some work to do.
Yeah, and I got my ass humbled pretty quick. That's one of the reasons why I did the new build, because I was really more of a glass cannon, and I need to be able to withstand a little bit more. So
Tier 3, the enemies decided to hit back. Oh, that's weird.
Yep. So that's what's going on with Diablo 4. I'm going to keep playing it, but there was another update that came out, and I went back to Pow World, and I got to tell you, I forgot how much I loved Power World.
I did not forget how much you loved Power World. I
I
remembered.
I played a lot of Power World when it came out. I think I'm sitting at about 90 some hours on Power World right now, which is a lot for an early access game, especially. But I did see during like all the Summer Games Festival, they talked about their I think it's called Sakurajima update, which is a whole new island you can go to. With that came new pals. There's also new weapons you can get. I haven't built it yet, but I have a laser rifle that I got, which I'm really excited about. And there's also this is kind of it's an interesting, like it's a very Japanese inspired location. A lot of cherry blossoms. You have a lot of traditional Japanese style buildings. There's even a new pal that's a frog wearing. I don't know the official title for it, but like it looks like a karate outfit of some degree.
Oh, a gi?
Yeah, it's a frog wearing a gi, which is very good. There's also
I'm gonna look up this frog wearing a gi.
yeah, he's very good. There's also like a mushroom biome now that's in there, and there's a new pal like boss tier that you can go into and fight. There's also new items you can unlock for your base. So I didn't realize just by how much time I'd put into Power World before this update how fucking OP I was. And I was like basically single shotting these enemies. And they actually let me build a ring that I unlocked. So if I put this ring on, what's it called? Like false swipe on Pokemon that doesn't kill the Pokemon. I can just slide this ring on and just knock them down to nothing and catch them a lot easier now, which is great.
Not bad.
So Pal World continues to be really cool, man. I think
I can confirm the frog pretty cool.
Frog's pretty cool. There's also some really big new badass pals. They also have new tiering, not for everybody, but some of these new pals on like their ability back at the base. One of the things that they did add that I did not realize had happened before this, that was a literal game changer. There's this item you can build in your base. I never used it. That's kind of a coordinator tower, so to speak. You go into it and you can change the level of what your pals are doing, like how hard they're working. But it gives you a roster of every pal that's in your building or your base, and then it has check boxes for all their passive abilities. So you might have a pal that is really good at collecting wood. They're really good at planting seeds, but they're the best at mining. Well, because AI is dumb, it might not have always known I should be, hey, you just put this stuff over here to mine. I should go mine because I'm the best at it. It's like, no, I'm going to pick up this shit and carry it. Well, now you can go in and you can turn off traits on your pals and just say, like, you only mine now. Like, that's all I want you to do. So I can go in and I've kind of set everybody up where they need to be. And I've got a much more efficient operation going, which in game, you got to build a lot of shit. So
are the species good at mining versus other things, or is it the individual pals where species. One pal of one species is really good at one thing? Or
species. Now there are hidden abilities like Pokemon, so you might have one where it's like, hey, there's a mining foreman passive ability that like really boosts this stat, and you can get into straight up sicko mode like in Pokemon, where it's like I'm gonna start breeding to where I can build the most efficient fighter or the most efficient farmer. I haven't gone that far. I have done, there were certain pals that the only way you could get them is through breeding. They were kind of like in the game, but they shouldn't have been type thing. So I did that. Like literally they were numbered like 14A, 14B because of this. So like I've got those pals earlier before this update, but I've been having a good time with that because it is something where I've tried to min max the production of what I'm doing. And that's been pretty helpful to go in and say like, hey, I don't have to come in here and manually move you back on task. You're just going to do this now. That's been like a godsend for this game. So I will say that like there's not a ton here for being like their first big update. There's a good amount for sure. Oh, one other thing they added in, there's a meteor now. Meteors will hit kind of like a public event, And with
Okay.
that, there's a PAL that comes out of the meteor. So it's kind of a rare find to get them. But what happens is that there's a faction that will come out to the meteor landing along with you, and they're going to kill that PAL pretty quickly. So you have to make short work of them or catch it quickly, or they'll kill it. So I haven't caught it yet, but I think that's a really cool thing that they're doing with it also.
Nice.
So that's Pal World. They are. We're not doing news this week, but I thought it would be interesting to call it out. There's an 898% increase in players right now because of that update.
Sure.
And
well, I wonder how much it fell to get to that point.
Well, I mean,
it's been out for a while. I mean, it's still in early access, but it's been out for a while. It's been out since what, January?
Yep.
So I could see people feeling fatigued of the content that was in there at this point. So just to have the idea of like, oh, hey, we threw someone else in there for you. Not shocking to me that people would flood back to it, but that is a very splashy number to say of 800+% growth.
I think I'm going to keep. I think I'm going to keep playing it this way. Like usually when I've played other games like this, I do a lot of early access. I'll play through the first big wave of content, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait for 1.0. But the way that they're doing it and just the progression and the grind that comes with it, unless they wipe everything, which I just can't see them doing given how people are playing it. I think whenever they put something new out, I'm going to go get the new pals. I'm going to unlock the new tech tree stuff and just play it in small doses. But it's cool, man.
I get why they don't do it anymore. I guess financially it didn't make sense, but I really did enjoy those Destiny times where, Luke Smith came out specifically and said, hey, you finish this content, go play some other games for a bit. Come back when we get the next thing. Yeah. Like, it's totally cool. If you want to be a sicko who's here to grind all the time, you can do that. But like, you don't have to. No. And then they switch to that seasonal model of, okay, there's something new every week, and you have to keep on playing this game, and you're going to get bits and pieces of the story drip fed to you. And it just got to the point where I stopped paying attention to the story because it was so slow. It was meted out so slowly. And I think that was, it took a while, but I think that was a big factor in burning me out. Like, if I could just come back for like a month every few months and play some Destiny and then stop, I think I could have kept going with that. But it's the constant always needed to be there that I just could not keep up with.
I know it's coming to PlayStation, Pal World, and I know that eventually there's going to be a 1.0, and my hope is that people will come back to it, and then I can show up and help folks a little bit with dungeons and stuff like that. A real brief update here on something new. So moving out of the checking in into what we've been playing here. You and I checked out a long time ago on a Steam Next Fest a demo for a game called Fallen Aces. If you don't remember this one, this was the like Dick Tracy boomer shooter that had the really...
I remember it. You mean the audience? Because I could not forget Fallen Aces. That game looked cool.
Yeah, well, so it's out in early access. This is being put out by Trey Powell and Jason Bond. It's being published by New Blood Interactive. It'll set you back $13 right now. They've released episode 1 of 3. And within episode 1, there are 5 levels with what they are quote unquote saying high level of replayability with. If you remember when we did the demo, there was a dame that we had to go and rescue. And I think a lot of those first early beats are what we're seeing here with it. It seems very polished, all hand-drawn, all voice-acted, which is awesome. A real labor of love with this one, I think. I don't...
How much, because this part I don't remember as much. How much of a first-person shooter is it versus how much is it just a game in first person? Because there's also like a lot of punching and kicking stuff too, right?
It's very much a first-person shooter.
Okay.
Like, you are picking up more weapons. There's upgrades that you're getting. You're going into a level with objectives. You need to go here and find this, find your way into it. There's a lot of reaction, like blocking, hitting that you can do. Your weapon's no longer shooting, so you can use it as a pistol whip. You can throw it, that sort of thing. it's really well done, man. Like again, I wasn't the biggest Dick Tracy fan. I was obsessed with The Watch as a kid, but this period I think translates really well to what they're doing here, and they've leaned into it hard.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool.
I remember when we were doing the Next Fest, there was also like some puzzly elements where we got caught up of like, I don't really know where to go now. Do you feel like that's been cleaned up and you've been having an easy time getting through these levels?
I'm not really far into it, man. Like I just kind of fired it up, and I was really more excited to say like, hey, they're doing it. Like they didn't abandon it. Things are coming. I've basically been in that first level, so I can't expand too far beyond that.
Yeah, we'll check in again another time.
Yeah, but it's been cool, man. Falling Aces, worth your time is what I'm getting at here for sure. What about those old new games, Chase? Those June games.
Those June games, yeah. I remember those June games. You want to talk about those June games?
Yeah, well, not really. I looked at what we picked, and
we're gonna do it anyway. So let's look at the games that we picked for June the last time we did our monthly preview and see how things came out. I can go first. I had Monster Hunter Stories, and that was it. Which I think I said at the time, like I'm not buying this game day one. I've beaten this game already. I love this game. I'm glad that it's available.
$30
on. Yeah, I'm glad it's available on a Switch. I'm glad it's available other places, but I know what that game is, and just because they added some voice acting, I forgot what else they added in to this version because it's the iOS version. I think that was slightly retuned. It's like, hey, it's like I know. It's fine. I'll pick it up someday. Maybe if it goes on a deep sale or if I just feel the urge to go back and play that game. But I already know that game's good. So I hope other people bought that game.
It's long too. It's a long game.
It's a decently sized RPG for sure.
Yeah.
You also had Monster Hunter Stories, which we just talked about. But then you had a couple other games here that I don't remember you talking about much at all. So let's get into it. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD.
I think this is the first month where I've had this happen. I did not play Luigi's Mansion 2 HD.
So Luigi's Mansion just came out though. Like it came out really late.
The 26th, I think.
Yeah. So it's somewhat understandable, but also, to be fair, that's another game that's been out for a long while. I've
got a rule right now.
But it's been out.
Right now, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is number one to finish this year, up before September. Which is when Zelda comes out. The other game I'd like to, if I'm going to be playing my Switch, which I am, I really wanted to get through Paper Mario, and I wanted to go and wrap up the remake for Mario RPG. And so
I need to start that.
That's my focus right now. Luigi's Mansion 2, I mean, I hear it's fine. I think the last one was great, and I really enjoyed my time with it. But I know where I'm at with those right now.
Mm-hmm. And then you also had Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, which you have not played. That's the Elden Ring DLC. We know that friend of the show, Johnny Amazich, has been playing a lot of it and seems to be really enjoying it. I've heard many good things from people I respect that it is good. Obviously, I do not care about Elden Ring. Hope, fingers crossed, it doesn't hit on the wheel this month.
Well, so I didn't realize, I should say, that you actually had to be at a certain point to do the DLC. And even Jason and even Johnny, both friends of the show, had not beaten this boss, if you can believe it, their favorite game of all time. They hadn't beaten the boss that you needed to get into the DLC.
Well, the game's just so big, Bobby. There's so much stuff to do. We couldn't get around to it.
I will tell you, my cousin has told me very. He gave it a 5 out of 10. Said it's not very good. And I've heard from a lot of people that if you thought Elden Ring was hard, this is downright punishing.
That I have heard, that you are getting the challenge stuff, but it sounds like it's a lot of content. I know Johnny specifically told me like, oh dude, this is huge. It's even what they teased of how big it was going to be. It's almost like the way they showed us Tears of the Kingdom, and you're like, oh okay, so it's like the surface and the sky, and then Nerd Tree's like, what about below? and he's like, it's fucking huge, man. I'm like, oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah, it
Good
must
for
be
you.
so big because I just hardly see him playing it. But yeah, some
Well,
things
he's only
never
playing
change.
it during work hours, obviously. So
No, it was. I think it was like
tough.
total. It's like back on Total Warhammer for him. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna play it. I really don't. I think I really want to like that game. I am not going to like that style of video game ever. I don't think.
Yep. Yeah, I've given it a shot. I played Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2. Just they didn't quite hit for me. I gave it Dark Souls 1 I played when it kind of first came out and people were getting hot about it, and I loaded it up. I played it for a few hours. I did not. I just really hated it, and so then I got the years of Dark Souls discourse about how amazing it is, and I thought, okay, let's try to let's really go in and give this a shot. And I did. I played it for like a good 15-ish hours, I think, and I beat some bosses, and I was learning some strategies, and I was getting around in it, and it just, at some point I'm like, I just don't like this, and I'm gonna stop doing it. I don't care how much Austin Walker loves this game. I love you, Austin Walker, but I can't. It's not for me. It's not for me.
There is I'd heard that there's a mod that somebody's made that apparently really takes down the difficulty of it. And part of me is like, I really enjoyed the world. It's all the shit in the world that's trying to hurt me that I didn't care for. Maybe I would never do that. But at this point, man, like, I think that's just going to be one of those things that I put up on a shelf and I admire and just say, hey, I really appreciate this game, because I do. Like, I really appreciate that Elden Ring exists. I don't think I've encountered a game I wish I liked more. Like, I wish I could be in this zeitgeist right now. I just can't get into it.
I have found some enjoyment out of watching other people play, in the sense that, okay, I can get to see some of the world and I can get to see some of the cool strategy stuff you put into it. But I also know that when they lose progress in the game, that's not my time. I didn't lose anything there, so I'm fine. I'm chilling. I was kind of doing something else while watching this anyway, so I didn't lose out at all.
There's a game that I really liked this year called Pacific Drive that had it basically has a corpse run in it if you die, and you can completely turn that off in the settings. And I think that for me is one of the biggest things. Like, if I could have a game anyway, we got other things to talk about besides this dumb shit.
Sure.
But yeah, I did not play any of those games that I picked for June, but I did play a lot of new shit that I didn't expect in June, which wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Well, also, like, we had the E3. Oh, not the E3 stuff, but we had Summer Games Fest and other things, and we got some shadow drops like we thought we would. So I'm not surprised at all that the stuff we knew that was coming out in June was not necessarily the stuff that excited us the most about June.
Totally. Well, what about free stuff that's coming out this month?
Yeah, we're getting a couple free things. So Xbox, we know, has stopped doing their Xbox Live Gold, or I forgot even what they called it. It's been so long. But PlayStation
Games
Plus is still. Yes, Games with Gold. Thank you. But PlayStation Plus is still doing its essential stuff. We don't cover the extras or the premiums or any of that. But on Essentials this month, you can get Borderlands 3 for PS4 and PS5, a game I do not like.
I just did something really stupid, by the way.
What?
The Steam summer sale is going. That's not stupid. I shouldn't say stupid. It's dumb, but it's anyway.
Okay. It's dumb, but it's not stupid. Thank you. That's very helpful.
They've got a lot of bundles going on a deep discount, and they have the Borderlands Pandora's box, which is literally every single thing, DLC, all that.
Tales from the Borderlands, all of it,
like literally everything. It's normally like $600 some for everything.
Why would you do this to yourself, Bobby?
Because they had everything for like $40.
But yeah, what everything of Borderlands do you want to play?
The DLC of 1 and 2.
Yep. 1 and 2. good games.
I don't think I've played all of Tales of the Borderland.
I
People like that one, right?
Yeah, I mean, as one of those Telltale games that did really well at the time, sure. I played the first one and thought it was okay, but I think at that point I stopped caring about the Borderlands story stuff to not really be grabbed by it, even though I thought the game itself played well and had some cool moments in it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I just, after our episode on preservation, I was like, I kind of, I can.
Yeah, that's fair.
Everything for, like, literally, like, this is normally $600. I can get it for $40. I'm going to do that. Like, that's a steal.
But you're also getting Borderlands the pre-sequel, which I don't think is very good. You're getting Borderlands 3, which I don't think is very good. Like, they made some bad Borderlands games too.
They did.
Like, outside of 1 and 2, it's rough out there.
I know. Anyway, I saw that. I was like, I did a dumb thing.
Man, Borderlands 1 though.
I did get all the Arkham games too for like $10.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Other games that are coming to PlayStation Plus Essential this month: NHL 24 and Among Us. Am I an idiot? I thought Among Us was free to play. I guess not. Maybe it's just cheap.
It's cheap.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just figured with so many people playing it and talking about it that it must have been free to play. If that had
it was like, I think it was like $3.
Entry.
Actually, let me just see what it is on Steam really quick, because now you've got me wondering.
I mean, I'm sure it can't be more than 7, and it's probably closer to 3 or 4.
Oh, yeah. This says save 40% right now. So normally it's $5. You can get it for $3 on Steam right now.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Hey, I guess if you're a kid and you go like, "Hey, mom, can I have $5 for this video game?" She'll probably say yes. So I get it. Have you ever played Among Us?
No.
Neither have I. I know it's a big deal.
I think there's a TV show right now being made, and I know that
they're working on a cartoon. Yeah.
There's a sequel that they paused to polish the first one.
Right.
There's the VR version, which I think is so
popular at this point. Yeah. That they just like, well, I guess there's no reason to make a second one.
My understanding of the VR is it's like, did you ever see any of the clips for like that VR chat stuff?
No.
I mean, it is what it sounds like, but it seems like they put VR chat with Among Us is kind of what it looks like to be. I don't know.
Okay.
People seem to like it.
Yeah. So that's what's on PlayStation Plus this month. Bobby, I'm going to throw it over to you to talk about what's new on Game Pass this month.
There's a lot. We got
so you can take all my thunder when I talk about new games, and you'll be like, well, I already talked about that for Game Pass.
I'm not going to tell you anything about them, but you'll hear more about them soon. We got Flock coming out. I'm not going to tell you the dates. I'll let Chase have those. Flock, Magical Delicacy, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, Dungeons of Hinterberg, Kinitsugami, Path of the Goddess, and Frostpunk.
Oh, your Japanese is so good.
I think
first Sakurajima and now Kinitsugami. You're just killing it over there.
You can't ask me about anime anymore because I've mastered it.
That's true. I mean, I still just have one title that I've added to the "Hey Bobby, what's this anime about?" list, and I haven't come up with any more. So if you'd like to tell me about "'Tis Time for Torture Princess," Bobby, you wanna do a little impromptu? What's that anime?
Not until it's a Monday, I know, but
I mean, it is Monday. This is the time.
Well, let's at least do one thing I love to do, which is spin your wheel.
You hate spinning the wheel. You hate the wheel. I love the wheel. I've embraced the wheel.
I think the wheel represents what I hate. But
what do you hate about the wheel?
The lack of games I like getting picked.
You are always telling me to play games.
No.
Chase, you don't play any games.
You don't play my games.
Oh, I know, but you have said in the past, like, there have been multiple jokes. You sent a joke just this week to the group chat of something about buying games but not playing them, which was a very funny joke. And then you're like, "Oh, Chase, does it remind you of anybody?" And it's like, yes, I get it. I don't play the game, so to have something that I chin up to say you have to play this game this month.
I don't think that sounds like something I would do or say ever.
It absolutely is something. If I wasn't lazy, I would go through the group chat to see exactly what you said. It was some meme.
There's
cannot
enough
remember.
laziness in that channel for the both of us. I don't think that you need to add more to it.
Fair enough. So Bobby, last month I played Virginia, which I was really excited about, and that game ended up being really good and crucially really short. So I was pretty excited about it. I don't want it to be a long game, obviously, and I know I'm the one who put all these games on here, so it very well could be. But I'm excited to see what the wheel gives me this month.
You should figure out some way. I'm not saying we need to do this right now, but how you could take what you have on this list and break it into two, and basically have short games.
You want more wheels. You want a motorcycle, is what I mean.
I want a motorcycle, and you can say, you know what? I know me. This month I need something short. Boom, get it out of there.
Okay,
get some of that fodder.
Here's the problem though, Bobby. Every month I would go, well, we should do the short one. We should just keep doing the short one, and I would never play. See, that's the problem. You can't have too many wheels because then you're not going anywhere. But
yeah, then it becomes sad. Unicycles are funny. Motorcycles are sad. Remember
no. Unicycles are funny. Motorcycles are dangerous. Tricycles are weird, and cars are fine.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Let's
Bobby, spin the wheel. Let's see what I'm playing this month.
Oh boy. Please be
trying this month. I don't need to finish it. Remember, that is a crucial rule on the wheel. I do not need to finish it. I just need to give it a little college try.
No, damn it.
Uh-oh. Bobby gets to see this before I do. Oh, Tokyo 42. I don't think this game is very good from what I've heard. I played this at a PAX.
What Zelda game did I miss?
Was it really close to a Zelda game?
I literally thought you were getting a Zelda game.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
It just says the Legend of Zell, so I don't know which one.
Okay, it's probably a Link to the Past. I think that would have been the only one I put on there.
Okay,
but Bobby,
Tokyo
you don't
42.
have to worry because that was a New Year's resolution. I'm going to beat a Link to the Past this year. I haven't gotten around to it yet. But yeah, Tokyo 42. I played this at a PAX East a long time ago. Friend of the show, Jiggy, also played it. I remember watching him play it a little bit, and I looked at it and I was like, "Hey, how was that?" And he's like, "It's okay."
Damn.
It looks gorgeous. It's a really cool looking game. It's like a isometric game, and it's got a really cool art style. And I think you're like running. I don't think you're a sniper exactly, but you're running around like Tokyo rooftops and assassinating dudes. It's just that maybe it doesn't play all that great. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Find out
Tokyo
here
42.
soon.
That'll be fun. I can. What is that even on? I know it's PC, but is that on something else? Tokyo 42. Okay, that's on PS4. I could grab that. I mean, 90% off on Steam right now. It's $2 on Steam. Maybe I will play this on Steam.
I think that's worth $2.
$2. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna load up Steam and just buy this now, so I make sure I have it. But then, yes, we can get into it.
Okay, cool. We have, how many games do we got on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There's
6,
a decent amount.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I've run into a bit of a snag,
14,
Bobby.
15, 16, 17. Yes. 18, 19.
I already own Tokyo 42.
I think we can do this. We've got.
That's probably why it was on the wheel.
Yeah.
It's because I already owned it.
That
I didn't
sounds.
have to buy a new game.
We've got about 20 games with about 20 minutes left. Let's see how we can measure this stuff up.
We'll do just fine. Some of these can go by pretty quickly. Like this first game, on July the 2nd, Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail comes to PS4, PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X. Bobby, you have played Final Fantasy XIV. I have not, so this is your area of expertise. You excited? You going to jump back in?
Hell no.
Oh, okay. Hey, we know that they fixed it at some point with the Realm Reborn. I hear
this game's huge. People fucking adore this game.
People love Final Fantasy 14. There was a time where I thought I was going to play Final Fantasy 14, and then I didn't, and I'm okay that I didn't. I just the art style of this looks really generic of just 14 in general, not just this game. And that's kind of disappointing for me as a person who likes Final Fantasy as a concept.
Yeah.
I just don't get a lot of joy out of this, but I know a lot of people do, so good on them.
Yeah, man.
Also on the second, something Bobby might have a little bit more interest in is the first Descendant, which is coming to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC. Bobby, you seem like you know more about this game than I do. I've been getting some YouTube things, so I know about a girl who throws water everywhere.
That's one of them. Yeah. So
why don't you tell me more about the first Descendant?
I've played this. It's really fucking good. I really like it. It's actually preloaded. It's launching tonight it unlocks midnight Pacific time. So I'll be playing it probably after the show. Descendants are classes you can unlock. Well, they're people. You can unlock characters like heroes. They all have unique abilities. The one that you're talking about.
Is this a hero shooter?
No, this is a third-person Anthem. Not Anthem. You put Anthem.
Oh, it's an Anthem. Okay.
No. It's honestly,
bad.
It's more like a Destiny. So bad.
Okay. Sure.
But third-person action, open world, looter shooter, free to play, all Unreal Engine 5. It looked gorgeous when I played it. You got a grappling hook that reminds me a lot of the mechanics of Lost Planet, which feels really cool when you're like scaling around. But everybody kind of has like their own abilities. You've got the big tank guy he looks like a Titan from Destiny. He puts up a wall and a bubble like a Titan. The girl you saw, I can't remember her name, but she actually can morph into water, and she's got a really cool like area of effect. Any enemies that are in water take more damage, and you can really min-max that with other people you're playing with. There's another character that does damage over time build, so she does more like venomous and poison builds. And then there's another character that's just like your soldier grenades and like higher level rifles.
What's the structure of this game? Is it like a Borderlands kind of thing where it's an open world that you're just exploring around? Is it very level based? Or are you doing
it's literally like
stuff? Or?
No. Like it's kind of like you're at the tower in Destiny. You're kind of managing all your shit, and you go out into the world, and there's events and things that you'll get, bring back, and upgrade. And I mean, there is some gotcha shit that you're bringing back into it for sure, but it plays really good, I think. And I think it's on everything. I'm pretty sure it's coming out on everything tomorrow. So
yeah. Can you switch out characters as you play, or did you just have to be?
No, you're like unlocking them, and you can do that shit. I wouldn't it's free, man. I would tell you, download on your PlayStation. Hang out with me one night. Let's just see what you think.
Maybe.
Yeah, you've been living clean.
The girl was very anime when I heard her talk, which obviously appeals to you.
Yes.
You know me.
Well,
I'm not
you didn't even see
fan.
Bunny. Bunny's the big one.
Okay.
She looks kind of like a combination of Eva, right? That was the Overwatch girl. Like that has the mech.
Oh, Diva. Yeah.
Diva.
Yeah.
She's kind of like that. She's really cool though.
Like Eva, that's the robot from WALL-E. Yeah.
She moves really quick, but like as you hit a sprint with her, she starts to generate power up. But her ass cheeks hang out. Like people are she's like on the S tier of everything. She's very anime and she's very thirsty for a lot of the folks out there.
All right.
It's cool. I mean, you might hate it, probably so, but it's free and we can play it together. So I think that's worth something.
All right. Moving on to the fourth, where hey, more gotcha.
More free that we can play together.
Yeah. Zenless Zone Zero comes to PS5, mobile, and PC. And this is the new MiHoYo game, the new game from Genshin Impact, from Honkai Star Rail. It seems stylish. This one's more based around combat. And it has some very stylish looking combat and combo-y stuff. And it's kind of like Genshin Impact where you still have 3 characters and you're switching among them. But it looks like there's all sorts of like parry kind of stuff that you can do, or switching to a character to shield a thing and then switching to another one to do a big attack.
This game's going to be fucking massive.
It could. I could totally see that. The animation stuff they're doing in here, the like the mechanic stuff, all looks really cool. And maybe the most interesting thing about it is what they've talked about, how to not discourage exactly, but to lessen the gacha effects.
I was reading something about that myself, and I was pretty like, that's, you know what? That's cool.
So first things first, they're taking out any sort of stamina system. In Genshin Impact or some of these other games, you will play these story missions and they take a certain amount of stamina, so you can only play so many story missions per day. And they go, no, you can just play the video game if you want. Like you can go through the video game as you want. And then the other big thing is that you don't have to buy new characters. You can always just, because like one of the things that would happen in Genshin, it's not even really Genshin. It would just in some of these is that you feel like you have to buy characters and then you have to level them up. And if they're not at the right level, then you have to go buy things that can level them up faster. And in this game, they are offering the ability to just play with trial teams where, hey, cool. I'm going to this story mission. Here's this preset, pre-leveled team that can handle this mission. And you can just use them and you can get through it. So if you want to just play the story of this, it seems like they have done a pretty solid job of making that accessible. Now, I'm sure you can still buy all sorts of bullshit in here. And that does still scare me of like, if I play this game, will I have the willpower to stop myself? And I don't know if I will, but
do you think you're gonna play it?
I don't know. I could use your argument and go like, oh, it's free, I should try it.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I kind of feel like this is something that we could do on a Monday night just to be like proof of concept to talk about. Like,
maybe. Hey, my other thing is I've already bought a lot of other games that I should really play. It's not like free means that I can immediately play it. So we'll see. It does look stylish. I think there's some cool things in it. But maybe I'll see how some other people feel about it before I jump in.
Yeah.
On the 9th, Once Human is coming to PC. Bobby, in my notes, I said this looks creepy. But nothing sounds scarier than multiplayer open world survivor game. You seem to be excited about this one. Tell me more about it.
I've been on the play test for it. It's a wild concept. Like this is, it feels very much like a Kojima game when you play it.
Okay.
You down to like you're wearing kind of like the oh my god, Death Stranding backpack with the baby butt on your back with the butterfly in it.
Okay.
You are building up a base. It's weird. Like it's all very much geo-fenced by people in the world. It's like you'll just come across people's establishments and you can't build within certain vicinity of it, at least in the alpha stuff that I played. There's dungeons that you go into. There's a very robust crafting. Like what if Kojima made The Last of Us is probably how I would explain this. So like it's very much like that level of combat. There's really crazy looking creatures that have like headlamps for heads that you can like take and go in, and you got to go into the hospital, and like sometimes these houses just grow legs and move. It's very, very fucking surreal. But I think there's a cool loop to it. I think the combat feels good. The building in it's actually pretty neat. It is a survival crafting game, so you are needing to eat, you're needing to drink, and you're needing to upgrade levels and shit that you have.
So I'm out. Okay.
You're absolutely out.
Good to know.
I think I'm very excited for it. I've been playing a lot of it, but I'm more excited for the first Descendant, and I'm still very much like wrapping up things with V Rising right now, and then I'll probably
you'll get to play the first Descendant for a full week before this comes out, so you'll have plenty of time.
I'll be leveled up in a pro at that point. But yeah, I'm excited to check this one out for sure.
All right. The next day on the 10th, Yao Ling Mythical Journey comes to PC. It's PC only, which is kind of disappointing for me because I think there's something kind of cool about this. It seems to be an interesting take on a Pokemon monster collecting kind of game.
I like the style.
Yeah, style looks nice, and it seems like, oh, you're just monster collecting and raising stuff, and it's all about the same. But when we get into combat at some point in this trailer, it seems like it's more like large scale, where you're taking your full team of monsters against another big team of monsters, and I can't tell if it's real time or if it's still turn-based strategy, but it seems kind of cool to like go into a battle with a bunch of dudes instead of just I do my attack, you do your attack. My thing got knocked out, I'll bring in a new guy. Yeah, so I mean I'm pretty interested. It seems I hadn't heard anything about this game. I just saw a trailer for it and thought it looked pretty neat. Again, PC only kind of bums me out. But you know, I guess if this game does well enough, maybe we see a Switch port or something like that. It doesn't seem like it's that intensive.
I wonder why it would have to be PC only. That's strange.
I bet it's just whoever made this game. Maybe they're like, hey, you know, one developer, small team or something. Let's get it out on PC. Let's get it done, and then you can focus on ports like you see a lot. Yeah. But I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool. Yaoling Mythical Journey. So check that out. I'm gonna
keep this one on the radar. This one looks cool.
Yeah, you should. On the 11th, Angerfoot comes to PC. Yeah. Again, PC only, bums me out, but we have seen this game in the past. We've played it on Casual Mondays during some Steam Next Fest. Game looks fucking cool. It's
just third-person Hotline Miami, and I'm here for it, man.
Kinda, yeah.
We had a great time playing
this. With a jokier atmosphere. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very dumb, very good. We really enjoyed this when we got to play it on the Next Fest, and I will probably end up. I don't have it selected. I should, because I'll probably end up picking this one up. But again, like, this is one of those things that like I probably would play a handful of times and move on for a bit. But maybe if I hate to say like I'll wait for a sale, because I don't think I will. But I think it looks really cool. And it played really cool.
It seems neat. If it's a game that can take like 4 or 5 hours of my time and just be an awesome fast experience, I'd be down for that. On the 15th, Darkest Dungeon 2 gets ported to the Nintendo Switch, the PS4, and the PS5. This game originally came out in May of last year.
Whoa.
People love Darkest Dungeon. This is supposed to be my shit, but I have found Darkest Dungeon to be punishing in a way that I do not enjoy from these turn-based roguelike strategy games. But I've got a lot of friends and have read a lot of reviews of people thinking these games are awesome. I think people liked Darkest Dungeon 2. So if you did and you're waiting for it to come to Switch or PlayStation, now's your chance. On the 16th, Cataclysmo comes to PC.
This thing looks cool.
It really looks cool. So in my notes, I wrote, I don't think I've seen a game capture the feel of the Battle of Minas Tirith quite like this. Like there are a lot of enemies and they are attacking these castle walls, and it just looks really cool. Now there's some building and I look at that and go like,
hang on a second.
It's like, I don't want to build, but I know somebody who does. I'll tell you, this was on my picks list for a while, and until I just went, you know what, I'm not gonna like this. I'm not gonna like all the building. Also, it's PC only. I'm definitely not playing this. But this does seem like your shit, Bobby.
I just added it to my list. Like, I will absolutely be checking this out. Maybe you can watch me play this and help me. I think that
sounds great. I would love to watch you play this on a Casual Monday or multiple Casual Mondays. We'll see.
Maybe
20+ hour campaign I just see there. So,
let's just see what it fucking does, man. Maybe we get into it. Who knows?
Maybe. Also on the 16th, Bobby teased it, but Flock is coming out to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC. But it is part of Game Pass. This thing just looks super charming. It's Annapurna, so we already are poised to like it. It seems like there is a joy of flight here that reminds me of something like Flower. Where just very colorful spaces and you're just flying through stuff really quickly and enjoying that sense of speed. It also reminds me a little bit of like a Ho Hokum, if you remember that game. It came out on the Vita, where it was a lot of like flying around. Now that game was 2D and this is 3D, but it was a lot of flying around, collecting stuff and bringing it to other people. And that's kind of what this is, where you're flying around, you're trying to get things to add to your flock, and then using. I think some of these things have unique powers, so you're using their powers to get to other places or to do other things. But it just looks
this
serene
looks like the
and
type
fun.
of game you would end the night with.
Yes, absolutely, totally like a come down game, a chill game.
Yeah.
I'm pretty jazzed to try this one.
Man.
I think it'd be fun.
I'm checking out here. Is it on Switch too, or no?
Nope, no Switch, which is kind of a bummer. But I think this game will look really sharp and nice on my PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
and I'm looking forward to playing it there
for sure.
Also on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, worth it to try. Also coming to Game Pass on the 16th is Magical Delicacy, which is coming to Xbox One, Series X, and PC.
This looks really cool, man.
It does look cool. Like, can't remember what the name of it. Was it Battle Chef Brigade, or is that another game I'm thinking of? I think it was Battle Chef Brigade, where you'd like run around the environments to find ingredients. Now that game was more like timed and trying to do like an Iron Chef-y kind of battle at this, where this game seems like it's more about a story or an adventure where you still are grabbing ingredients.
It's a Metroidvania.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. So like you learn new skills as a chef, and you get new ingredients, and that allows you to kind of progress further into the city to do more with. There's like vendors you go to, and you're kind of maxing that stuff up, getting like shopping and doing all those things, and coming back and cooking for the community. I think you are building out the kitchen as well, from what I picked up on it. It's a really wild concept for what this is. It was off my radar. I feel like I'm kind of obligated as a Game Pass guy to check this one out, and I love to cook and I like Metroidvanias, so this could be pretty neat.
Very cool, and nice pixel art too. I like the style it's got going. On the 17th, Nobody Wants to Die comes to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. So this one is kind of intriguing to me. It's an adventure game, and it feels like it's kind of just taking place in this one room that we're seeing here. This room with like this atrium with like a big tree in the middle, and there's a crime scene, and you're this detective, but maybe it's kind of noir, so you're not like the lead detective on it, and it sounds like you got somebody in your ear in this trailer at least who's constantly like, hey, you should leave, like this is fucked up, like so you're gonna get caught. But it seems like there are a lot of cool detective things you can do here to try to recreate the crime or to go back in time in some way.
Striking too.
Yeah, really, really neat. And it does seem the further in this trailer, there are some other environments that I see around here as well. But I feel like it's kind of all based around this one area with this tree, and like, hey, there's a guy hanging from it. What the fuck happened to him? And why is this tree on fire? And all that kind of stuff. So really like analytics heavy detective game stuff that you don't usually see out of detective games. It's more like just talking to people and choosing the right dialogue option. So I like the idea of something that is a little bit more doing the work of a detective.
Yeah, man. This looks cool. Really cool.
Pretty neat. Also on the 17th, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate is coming, I believe, exclusively to the Switch, or at least timed exclusive coming to the Switch.
This was the Apple Arcade one.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
So a port then. But, they showed this off at the... Do what?
It's Hades.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a roguelike. It's multiplayer though, which is a little bit new and interesting from a Hades alike. But we've had a few Turtles games that have come out somewhat recently. There was the Shredder's Revenge one that was trying to very much trying to regain that same glory that you'd get from the arcade game, the original arcade game. And while this definitely is a different kind of game than that, it feels like maybe it nails that feeling of, hey, I just want to play this cool Turtles game with my friends and crush through a bunch of shit. Like art style wise, it's not, I prefer the pixel art stuff that you got from Shredder's Revenge, but there still seems to be some cool stuff in here, and it seems like they've got some interesting powers, and I kind of dig it.
Yeah, I would be curious if you end up picking this one up. Like I think it's still on Apple Arcade. I could check it out there for sure if I wanted, but that's just not where I want to play a game like this,
Well, yeah, and this was part of the, I guess, the big Apple Arcade exodus that was that Nintendo Direct of
Yeah,
also showing off Fantasian, which God could not be more excited
I know.
about actually getting to play Fantasian instead of just a little bit on an iPad.
Yep.
That's not coming out in July though, so I'll have to keep waiting for that. Let's talk about more July games. How about on the 18th, where we are getting Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, which is coming to Game Pass as part of Xbox One and Xbox Series X, also PC, but also PS4 and PS5. Bobby, why don't you grab the reins on this one?
Yeah, this one is a third-person action adventure game. They had a demo that came out during the Summer Game Festival as well. It reminds me of Jedi, the Jedi Survivor and the Jedi Fallen Order games quite a bit. It is Souls adjacent. I think when you first see it, like, oh, it's going to be a Souls like, but it's absolutely not that. It's a little bit faster, but you have the hey, this is a red attack, so you have to dodge it. This is yellow attack, so you can parry it. You have a gun and a melee weapon, and you have a little creature that allows you to do some supernatural jumping around and bouncing around. It seems kind of like the I can't remember what the name of that one game was that kind of came and went pretty early last year, about the girl from New York that gets magically moved like an isekai.
For Spoken.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of that with Jedi Survivor elements.
Okay.
I'm kind of excited about it. I played the demo and it seemed like it was pretty solid, like BA game somewhere in there. And I think being on Game Pass, I will absolutely check it out. You've got perks and abilities and gear you're upgrading. It seems very much like you're moving forward. I think it's set in the late 1700s also, if I'm not mistaken. So kind of a neat thing.
Nice. We'll look for that on the 18th. Also on the 18th, before we get to that, also on the 18th is Bo Path of the Teal Lotus, which is coming to PC, Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series X. I don't have a whole lot to say about this. I just think it looks cute.
Yeah.
It's got kind of that Ori or Celeste vibe of a 2D platformer where you're moving around the
very
space.
Pretty.
But very pretty. I think the art style is really cool. This is one of those games that if I get it in my hands and it has that feel, then maybe it's an incredible game. But you got to nail that feel for these kind of platformers, and
totally.
One without a pedigree like this one, who knows? But at least looks good. I'll be interested to keep some tabs on it and see if people like it. Also on the 18th, Dungeons of Hinterberg comes to PC, Xbox Series X, and is also a part of Game Pass. Bobby, you played this. We recently saw some for some Steam Next Fest stuff. And
one of my most anticipated games this year.
Yeah, you seem to really enjoy it. You want to say anything else about it?
Yeah, I mean, this is like a Zelda like, very chilled, wholesome ass, cool. Build up your social links, go and do dungeons, get loot, hang out. Really cool elements inside. The one that we got to see was a hoverboard, and there was some cool kind of rail grinding and Super Mario Galaxy shit that was happening with it. It was neat. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like almost like a Zelda meets Portlandia.
Yeah,
where you're kind of hanging out and enjoying a city area, but then also doing some Zelda stuff in there as well,
at
doing
IKEA.
some puzzles. Yes, absolutely. Let's keep going. Also on the 18th, Nintendo World Championships NES Edition comes to the Switch. Man, the more I think about this game, the more weirded out by it I am. You skip closer to the middle of the trailer if you want to start seeing some actual gameplay. We got a couple games that were already like this. The NES remix games that came out, I believe, on the Wii U and the 3DS. I think that's right. And those games were all about, hey, here's snippets of NES games, and you're going to play them. You're going to do little challenge stuff in them. And that's basically what this is. Like, hey, here's a bunch of timers for a bunch of pieces of games. There's a ton of challenges on here, and it's all leaderboard stuff. So you're seeing if you can, stack up. It takes some of that 99 stuff that we've been getting from Nintendo, and it's going, what if we just packaged it into one game? The thing they mentioned is there are 13 different NES games that are being featured here, and that sounds kind of cool, but also I don't think the full games are in here. It's not like you get 13 NES games and there's also the cool challenges. It's just the challenges, and for whatever reason that takes a lot of the excitement out for me. Even though like
Sure.
I have plenty of ways to play those NES games, both both legal and illegal, or morally gray, let's say.
Yeah.
But it just seems kind of weird to only have these challenges in here because it feels like more of a side thing than the full game. But they are pushing it as the full game.
This is not for me.
Yeah, no, I'm not that much of a leaderboard guy.
Yeah.
And certainly not for these kind of retro games. I've just never enjoyed it. I like watching AGDQ and things like that, but
Yeah.
this is not my thing. Which is sad because I like a lot of the stuff that's going on here. I just don't like the premise. Also on the 18th, Shim is coming to PC, Switch, and PS4. We saw Bobby play some of this on a Casual Monday for a Steam Next Fest. We've been seeing trailers for this for a couple years now. I think this looks really cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, this one's gorgeous. Look, the juice is loose, my man.
Yeah, very excited to see more about that. Also excited to see how it plays on a console.
Yeah.
So we'll see soon. On the 19th, as Bobby so eloquently said, Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess, comes to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and is also a part of Game Pass. I'm really curious about this one. I think it's got a really colorful, nice-looking art style, and I think some of the game mechanics sound interesting. We talked earlier about it on the Steam Next Fest, or not the Summer Games Fest part,
Yeah.
where we mentioned stuff like it's kind of taking like the Monster Hunter Rise horde mode missions, and it's kind of like building a full game around that. It is by Capcom. Capcom knows how to build these kinds of games.
You don't have to be too curious. You can actually, at the time of this recording, right now, there's a demo out. You can go download it. They just announced that today. I think Gamescom's going on, and Capcom had a big presentation today, and they released a demo for this on all platforms. So if you wanted to, you can check that out.
Yeah, I could check that out. I definitely want to read some people, read people's thoughts on this. But I'm cautiously optimistic on this one. I think it could be really neat.
It's on Game Pass also, so you got that going for you.
That's true. That is true. Let's see. On the 22nd, the new Denpamen comes to the Switch. I've never played a Denpamen game, but they always look kind of fun on the 3DS.
Is Tingle a Denpamen?
Yeah, kind of. They're all just tingles. It's a little Tomodachi Life. It's a little Pokemon. It's a lot of a little. It's a little of a lot of things, you know.
Yeah.
So the thing with the Denpamen, those were, I believe, free to play games on the 3DS, or maybe they weren't free to play, but there were definitely things with like Street Pass and Spot Pass where you'd find Denpamen by finding other people, which was not something you ever got to do here in Missouri because nobody else was going to be playing the fucking Denpamen.
Yeah.
But I was intrigued. I thought it was neat. But yeah, I never played it. But with this game, it does seem like there are still some multiplayer things that you are doing here. It is free to play, so we'll see how much monetization stuff is in there.
Yeah.
I don't really know, but I like the idea of like a Tomodachi Life, and I played some more of that and ended up enjoying that a decent amount. And I kind of want this to be good. I hope it's good. We'll see. I did play a lot of that Street Pass RPG that was on the 3DS that was just like built-in software, and this kind of feels like we expanded that out into something else. So we'll see. But that comes out on the 22nd. On the 25th, A Ranger, a role puzzling adventure, comes to Mac, PC, Switch, and PS5. We've talked about this one before. We showed it off on a Casual Monday. I don't know if Casual Monday was necessarily the best forum for
this is a game you need to play by yourself with time.
Yes, yeah, like not in 1 hour where we're trying to entertain a stream. And I feel bad that we didn't really give it its fairest shake. But I think there's some interesting ideas with the game mechanics here. I've mentioned it before, big Nick Sutner fan, so having him be working on the story stuff, pretty exciting. I was not completely sold on it during Casual Mondays, but again, trying to be fair to it. I would like to see more about this game and see if it's actually something for me. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, agreed.
A couple more here. On the 25th, Frostpunk 2 comes to Mac, PS5, PC, Xbox Series X, and is also part of Game Pass. Bobby, I think you're the one who put Frostpunk 2 here. Would you like to talk about it?
Yeah, this is dystopian as fuck and apparently really fucking rough to play.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think the game like This War of Mine, I think Banner Saga comes to mind for it. Like, you are just making terrible choices, and not because you want to, but because you have to. Like child labor, all that stuff is here. It's a city builder. It's a resource management game. You are trying your best to what was that one movie that came out, Snowpiercer? I think a lot of classism that happens on that is very much at play here. I hear nothing but great things about it. I never played the first one. I'll probably check this one out just to get a feel for what it's like to make some of these tough calls, but it looks gorgeous. Dystopia's never looked better.
Wow, what a selling point. And then finally, also on the 25th, Kingdom Rush 5. God, they've made 5 of them. Alliance comes out to mobile and PC. Yeah, Bobby, you put this one too. You wanna ask your questions in your notes?
Yeah, friend of the show, Brad Shoemaker, was talking about this series, about how it's
great
one of
friend.
his...
Yeah, he's just in the other room. Well, I'll grab him later, but we'll...
What he was saying was how much he adores the series. But Chase, I know that you've had probably the strongest appreciation of anybody on this show for the series.
Totally.
How are you feeling about another one of these? Are you gonna check this out, you think?
So I'm not really sure. I love the series quite a bit. I liked the first game. I adored the second game. I think the second game is still the high watermark for me. I had the developers on my old podcast, Gamers on the Go. They're from Brazil. I remember asking them at the time, because these games weren't on the Switch. I was like, have you ever thought about putting these on the Switch? And they're like, well, Brazil doesn't really care about the Switch. But it was only a handful of months later where they started showing up on the Switch as well. So I'd love to. I think Kingdom Rush 2 is incredible. One of my favorite games to play on a phone. And just the next couple that they put out were just less to me. They started out interesting, but then they threw maybe a couple too many mechanics. I remember in the third one specifically, I think it was the third one, they had all these teleporter gimmicks at one point, and it was like, I can't keep this shit straight. I'm not really having fun with the strategy of building these things. They always have fun units and interesting ideas with the way that the hero units work with the towers, and fun choices and fun branching paths for that stuff. But I started really losing interest around 3, and then especially 4. So I'm not necessarily ready to jump in on 5. I also just don't play games on my phone nearly as much anymore. So so there's like an inherent, this is not the thing that I'm into anymore. But I agree that at least for the first 2, I don't think you could get much better in terms of tower defense games. So it's cautious optimism, I guess.
Sure.
But I see this and I'm like, maybe I should load up Kingdom Rush Frontiers, the second one. Maybe I should just do that right now. And that has me more excited than anything this game might show off, which is disappointing. But we'll see. Maybe they will recapture the magic, and I'll get really excited. They did put out an RTS game at some point as well. Iron Marines, I think is what it was called. And I picked that up and I thought that was pretty cool. I would have liked to play that on something other than a phone, but I did really enjoy that. So they can make some cool games over there. And totally. It's possible. It's possible I might pick this one up and think it's really cool. But I could also just go play Frontiers right now, which maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that right after the podcast.
There you go.
But those are your games of July. Bobby, now it's time for us to make some picks, which obviously are not binding, as you just showed from the previous month.
Yes.
But I also get the feeling, and I also have the benefit of looking at this list that you have right here, that you find a lot of games from July interesting.
I do. That's true. I will tell you right now, I'm going to be checking out The First Descendant tonight. I will be checking out Once Human. I think both those are free to play, by the way. You got me hooked on Cataclysmo for sure. You know I'm going to be checking out Dungeons of Hinterberg, Shim, and then Flintlock. So all of these are either free to play or on Game Pass except for Shim. So relatively low pocket obligation to play some games this month for me. And that's what I've got going on.
Okay. I also think Shim's going to be pretty cool. I would like to play that, and I'm excited to. Again, cautious optimism around Kunitsugami. I might check out that demo, or at the very least read what other people think about that demo. And then I think I'm all in on Flock. I think Flock's going to be a game I play the hell out of this month, and so excited to be doing that. But yeah, I think this can also just be a relatively chill month. Where I'm going to be playing Tokyo 42. had to look down and remember what the fuck game was I playing. So we'll see. I think you know what? Real quick. Let's go to How Long to Beat, and let's type in Tokyo 42. There's a space between Tokyo and 42. There you go. 7 hours. I think that's fine. I can deal with 7 hours. 7 hours would be just fine. That's it. That's July.
That's the tweet. Our social links aren't working here, so we'll have to do this one in post. But this week for us, we've got a weird week. We are recording our podcast right now on a Monday, so no stream on Wednesday night. But you can come and check out The First Descendant on Friday night with me as I'm leveling up some characters there. That's what we got going on. And again, next week, we're only going to be live on Monday as I will be traveling. So no Wednesday or maybe a Friday stream if I get back in time. The plan right now is probably First Descendant or Once Human. We'll see how that goes. Chase, what about you? What do you got going on right now?
Yeah, go check out Black Hole Sun on my YouTube channel. I'm playing through Advance Wars 2, still going pretty nicely. And then there will be a new pilot program. I think we record on the 11th, so check out the next episode of Pilot Program. I'll let you know when it actually is out. But we're covering The Jeffersons, the 1975 television show, which
hell yeah,
I remember loving The Jeffersons as a kid. So excited to see more of that.
Awesome, man. We will be back on Friday.